Good morning. So for those of you who watched our live safari, you would have seen that we managed to find a male leopard with a kill in a tree. And we spent a little bit of time with him last night as well. And those hyenas that we'd been waiting for eventually arrived, but he did not drop the carcass out the tree. So it's now the next morning, about just after 6 a.m., 6:05 in the morning, and we're going to head out and see if he's still there. Hopefully he still has the carcass, maybe he's finished a little bit more of it, or if he has dropped it, maybe we'll be lucky enough to find the hyenas feeding on the remains. But let's head out there and see what we can find. So we have arrived back at the spot where he had his kill, and he's not here. In fact, it's quite similar to yesterday when we first came looking for him. He is not at the carcass, which is quite normal. He might be resting somewhere nearby. Maybe some hyenas came and moved around under the tree, which scared him off. He could also have gone somewhere for a drink, but there's actually a large amount of impala moving around the tree where the carcass is. So he's obviously not here, or hasn't been here for a while. But we're going to drive around the area and see if we can find him. So we've been looking around a little bit, trying to find where he may have gone. We have found some tracks heading in that direction. And we've also had a look at all the impala around here. They all look quite relaxed. And in fact, they're just busy sizing one another up and doing a bit of rutting. So as we chatted about yesterday, this time of year, the male impala are challenging one another for territory. And that may well be how that impala in the tree met its end. Fighting with another impala, being extremely distracted, and then the leopard took the opportunity to catch it. But all the male impala around here are either sizing up one another or just busy grazing. None of them seem particularly alert to any kinds of threats. So we're going to carry on looking around, maybe follow those tracks which we saw earlier. So we haven't had any luck just yet, and we decided to come down to the Sand River. I'm hoping that maybe the leopard we're looking for has come here to quench his thirst. So we're going to be driving along the river and sort of looking on the sandbanks, maybe looking on any of the rocks and seeing if we can spot him. And we heard a very distinct sound not too far away from us, and it was the sound of oxpeckers calling, usually the kinds of sounds they make when they're perched on things like rhino, giraffe or buffalo. But then we also heard the distinct bellow of buffalo, and we've managed to find a good sized herd of buffalo busy sleeping just near to the river. Usually those very distinct bellows that you hear are either the sounds of cows or bulls sort of challenging one another or pushing one another around. But if you see here, there's a bull that's actually trying to mate with a cow. See the way he's resting his chin on her back, actually trying to mount her. And the rest of the buffalo are just busy resting. A lot of them are still busy chewing as well. Instead of having to feed all day, like some of the other animals, like elephants for example, these buffalo feed well, and then they spend a lot of the day chewing. They re-chew the cud and take all the nutrients that they can out of the cud. And so when they rest at night, when they're lying down like they are now, they can just carry on chewing. We've also just seen some yellow-billed oxpeckers. You can see them flying from buffalo to buffalo, which is really cool. We don't often see them here in the Sabi Sands, but particularly on these large groups of buffalo, we do sometimes see the yellow-billed oxpeckers. And this herd, we've sort of driven through it between the two large groups of buffalo. It seems to be maybe in excess of 150 buffalo, which is really fantastic. It's quite incredible with the steam coming out of their mouths they're breathing in the cool winter air. So we've driven around and had quite a few good views of this herd now, and we think it may be one of the herds that hangs around this area and that has a white buffalo calf in it. Buffalo herds like this one have certain areas which they use regularly, and so on our concession we may have 2 or 3 different herds of buffalo moving around at any one time, and one of those herds has this white buffalo calf. And it's white in the sense that it's not albino. Albinism is the complete and total loss of pigmentation. It's leucistic. So for those of you who've been watching the live safari coming from andBeyond Ngala Private Game Reserve, you will have seen the white lions there. They're also leucistic, and it's the same with this white buffalo calf. Just a partial loss of pigmentation. But we think it might be this herd, so we're going to see if we can reposition and try and find this calf. So we have managed to find the leucistic buffalo calf, and it's quite interesting. It's already starting to go a little bit brown, in fact, around its face and around its neck, as you can see here. Unlike the white lions of andBeyond Ngala Private Game Reserve, the white buffalo calf does actually turn a little bit brown as it gets older, whereas the leucism in the lions, they kind of stay white for the rest of their life. So this calf is starting to turn brown, but it's still incredible. Oh, it's standing up. Look at that. That is unreal. I must say, not something we were expecting to find this morning, but a real welcome surprise. So we've had a wonderful sighting of this herd of buffalo this morning. They seem to be waking up, and they're starting to move away from the river. So I think we're going to leave them and see if we can find that leopard now. We're going to go back to the carcass. We've been down by the river watching this amazing herd of buffalo for the past 20 minutes and haven't heard any alarm calls or anything down here. So let's head back to the carcass. Maybe at this point he's gone back there to feed. So we've made it back to the carcass, but the leopard's still not back. There are, however, 3 hyenas hanging around. I think they probably came here with the same plan we did, to try and find the leopard. If he's feeding in the tree, there's a chance he'll drop stuff down for them to grab as well. But they've also noticed he's not here anymore. So we're just busy watching these 3 hyena which we found earlier. They've been moving around the area around the carcass. Still no sign of the leopard. We have heard in the distance one impala alarm call as well as a kudu alarm call, and these hyena are going to investigate it. So we're going to carry on following them and see, maybe they'll lead us to where the leopard is. They've also just gone past one of their latrines, one of the clan's latrines, and scent marked there as well, before continuing to investigate the alarm calls. So we've been following these hyenas now for about 10 minutes, and they looked like they were investigating something, and they kind of got quite excited, moving rather quickly down into this drainage line. And we thought that they were a little bit lost. They didn't look like they were moving they stopped, and they didn't look like they were moving with much more purpose. And we sat watching them for another 5 minutes, and suddenly we spotted the leopard hiding in the bushes very close to where the hyenas are. So actually, the hyenas were right on point this morning. So we managed to find him again. He moved away just as the hyenas got to him, and you saw him climb off the log, and he's found another place to rest in the shade just behind us here. He'll probably be here for the rest of the day. He doesn't seem like he is going to be moving much. Obviously he's digesting a bit of that impala that he's eaten, and it's quite abnormal for leopards to sleep this far away from kills. Wonder if maybe the presence of the hyenas disturbed him a little bit. And all those impala that we saw around the tree when we first got there this morning, They may have also been a reason for him not going back. I mean, you'd think perhaps he'd try and hunt them, but also if he walks back to the tree, those impala are just going to break out in alarm calling and actually bring more attention to him. So that may be the reason why he's steeping so far away from his carcass. But he's really quite settled in the shade here. Don't think he's going to be going anywhere quick. So I think we're going to leave him to rest and head back to the lodge.